Hello and welcome to The Muppets, the Sitcom, the podcast presented by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we revisit The Muppets' grand return to television in the 2015 ABC series The Muppets and see how it holds up 5 years later. You can follow along with the series by revisiting The Muppets 2, now streaming on Disney+. I am Joe Hennes, your host for today's show, and our very special guest is one of the stars of The Muppets, the sitcom. He appears on this series as Floyd Pepper, Sweetums, New Zealand, Robin the Frog, and the character find of both 1976 and 2015, Uncle Deadly. We are extremely proud to welcome Matt Vogel to the podcast. Hello, Matt.
Hey there, Joe. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. It's super exciting. I mean, people, as you know, won't shut up about Uncle Deadly thanks to this series.
I know. It's probably gone to his head. I don't
Probably. Does that mean it's gone to your hand? Is that how it works?
I can't
Is that revealing some of the magic?
Can't comment on that.
All right. Well, hopefully you will have a few comments about today's episode, which is episode number 13, Got Silk, in which Miss Piggy tries to make new friends, Gonzo, Rizzo, and Pepe try to get new clothes, and Uncle Deadly tries to get a little appreciation for once in his life.
That's right. Yes, it was a fun episode. I do like this episode a lot.
Good. I'm excited to talk to you about it. But before we do, we usually ask our guests if they watched this show when it first aired 5 years ago. I'm assuming that you watched it as well as performing in it. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate. Yeah, I would watch sometimes because we were also, and I don't remember, let's see, this felt so episode 13. I don't remember if we were actually had wrapped by the time this aired, but I do know that for some episodes the Muppet performers would gather in Los Angeles and watch the episode as it aired on ABC.
So you'd all just go to Bill Beretta's house and just crash on his couch.
Just gonna sit down in somebody's apartment and watch it, and
that's pretty cool.
Fun.
And then did you judge each other's performances?
Oh, we always do that. No, we mostly judge our own performances.
Yeah.
But you know what is interesting about this show that you bring up is, a lot of times when you're shooting a show, or how we're used to shooting a show, is always seeing the content, always seeing what it looks like because we're watching a monitor. And on this show in particular, it was shot in a very different way than we shoot most shows. I don't know if you've talked about this on here, but it was shot with sometimes it was shot with 4 cameras at any given time for any given scene. So the master, a couple of different kind of over a character to another character, and the reverse of that, and then maybe a fourth camera somewhere else shooting something else. And we didn't have, like on Sesame Street, we have a live switch, so we'll see the cameras going from the wide shot to a close-up and then back to the wide. Well, when we shot the Muppets, we did not have that. We had to train ourselves to look at 3 most of the time, if not 4 cameras at once on a quad monitor. And so that was a little bit of a trick to try to actually get used to seeing and making little minor adjustments so that things would play on the wide shot and then maybe also play on your close-up. It's really tricky because some things, they just don't work on more than one shot at a time. So we had to do a little bit of cooperation with our camera department and director, and then also a really cool thing, I didn't even think that I forgot totally about this, Joe. So this is good. I totally forgot about this. So we also then, after we'd shot the episode and after they'd put together a rough edit, Bill Beretta, who was one of the executive producers on the show, made it so that we all could come in and watch that first pass of the edit. And then we would be able to see shots where we go, oh, that shot's bad. Deadly's eyes are looking in the wrong place, and then they would, if it was possible, they would go in and they would make changes based on that, which was unusual.
Super interesting. Yeah, because I know that you guys often talk about how difficult it is to learn how to perform with monitors. I mean, just initially. I mean, it's obviously second nature to you, but just how to use a monitor, swapping your left and right, things like that. But then having the added challenge of, now you're looking at 4 monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a rarity to look at 4, but 3 was pretty common.
Yeah, that's still, I mean, that's, I'm not a puppeteer. I've said this before, I'm competent in that I know how to hold a puppet and open and close my hand, that sort of thing. But it's like hard enough to know how to hold your arm in the air for 20 minutes at a time, let alone also do it while reciting lines or singing a song or doing choreography. And then on top of that, the monitors, and
Yeah.
now 3 monitors. And wow,
Yeah,
is that a lot?
it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot, and it took. There was a little bit of a learning curve, but not just for us, the Muppet performers, but also for our camera crew. Because they all came from. A lot of them came from doing shows like The Office, and those kinds of shows where it was handheld, a lot of handheld camera work, and with that kind of documentary style uh, look. And it took them a while to kind of figure out what we needed as performers to help them get the shot that they needed. But they were all great. I loved our crew. They were amazing.
Wow, that's great. Well, let's jump into talking about this episode, and hopefully you'll remember a few more things like
All right,
that
hope maybe they'll
as
be
we go.
shorter and not quite as.
Hey, like make it long. I don't care. Whatever. We're not bound by any
All right.
sort of length
That's right.
requirements on this podcast. It's
All
our
right.
show.
Very good.
So the first scene, we're going to start with Fozzie and Bobo are preparing for a sketch that they're planning on doing. As Bobo is going to be a plant in the audience, but he decides that he's going to be Luann from St. Louis, who didn't tell her boyfriend Phil, but if she likes it enough in L.A., she's going to stay,
Right.
which is a cute moment.
Yes.
You are, I assume it's you in this scene playing New Zealand.
Yes.
Right
Yeah.
next to Fozzie.
Yeah, and he didn't really have a lot to do in the series, but he did have this little moment, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
Lou is like mouthing the lines
Yes.
with Fozzie,
Yeah.
which I assume is an ad lib.
Yeah, I just did it
something.
on
Yeah.
the day. Yeah, I just did it on the day. That didn't say it in the script. It's one of those things that I don't know that a writer would go like, and Lou lip syncs or mouths the lines. I think we did that on the day, and I really did throw those boomerang fish right into Bobo's. I did it from below.
Yeah.
And I think I also from off camera hit Piggy in the face with the fish.
That's probably satisfying when you get it
Yeah,
right.
it is. Yeah,
How many takes do you think it would take you now to do
Not
to
very
like
many.
to hit it?
not
Really?
not
You think
very
you get it in,
many.
like 2 or 3?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I for a while. I mean, on Sesame anyway. For a while, I was maybe this is just my own recollection of it, but I was the go-to guy of like throwing something accurately, just to hit it in a spot. I could do it pretty accurately, or like Big Bird throws makes a basket. I can really throw it and usually hit the basket.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
I assume it's a little bit harder when you're New Zealand. You have to catch something, maybe.
Yes, that's much harder. Yes, and I do think the reason why I could throw something is because I'm left-handed, and so with a live hand puppet, I've got both my hands up in the air. My right hand is doing the mouth. I'm left-handed, but I'm a right-handed puppeteer.
Right.
But my left hand is in the real live hand sleeve of the left hand, so I can actually do a real throw without it looking, awkward. I wouldn't be able to do it if I was a left-handed puppeteer and my live hand was in the right live hand. Does that make sense?
Right. Totally makes sense. I totally get you.
Yeah.
And now you're letting all your secrets out of why you're
Yeah.
the guy who throws things.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
throw things.
Love it. So Piggy enters the scene and she feels left out because Fozzie and Bobo and Lou are doing this thing. But then your second character in one scene shows up, and there's Uncle Deadly coming to her rescue, saying that Beyonce is on the phone. And you guys have this great moment where you're kind of backing up and you're saying, like, well, your close personal friends. Oh, Miss Piggy has her own speed dial. So, and then you
Let me turn.
kind of
Yep.
disappear. Yep.
Yeah. That was again, I feel like that may have, I don't remember the script and I didn't have time to really look it up before to see how that dialogue went. But my feeling was that it was a pretty free and open moment where Eric would kind of start the line and I would kind of, I was supporting Piggy. Deadly was there to rescue her and to support her. And that's why he's there. And so I don't remember if that was scripted or if that was just something we did on the day. I think the so is there and the turn. I think that was it. But what I like about that scene, and in particular what Deadly's doing in that scene, is that he does come to rescue her, which is kind of that's his job. He's her unsung hero, really. He kind of comes and rescues her time and time again.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it, and as we'll see throughout the rest of this episode, is he's not doing it just because it's his job. He genuinely wants to. He likes rescuing her,
Yes, I
and
think
that
so.
really is adding a really interesting layer to who Uncle Deadly is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that about this character is that you can't quite define him.
Hmm.
And that is actually something that they tried to do several times during this show, is not this particular episode, but during the show at large, is that they would, they put him as her kind of her valet, her dresser, and and yet he was an actor. But I always thought that it was best not to know very much about him. So there was an episode they wrote that were like, and now we're at Uncle Deadly's house. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. I really don't want to see us it's a babysitting episode. I can't remember he babysits Gloria Estefan.
Sure. Yeah, that
That,
was a
that
few
episode.
episodes ago, but yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
remember.
so that was originally set in Uncle Deadly's house.
Hmm.
And I was like, I just feel like he would never allow cameras into his private domicile. He would just not allow that.
Yeah.
And he's kind of private in that way. But I also feel like it defines him. If you see what it is that's in his house, you're going to know a little bit more what kind of person he is. And I think I don't want you to be able to put your thumb on what he is or
Yeah.
what he likes, what he doesn't like.
I think when you're talking specifically about that aspect of him, the dichotomy of the fact that he is on one end really fancy, he's really knowledgeable about fashion, he likes the finer things. On the other end, he's this scary looking dragon. He's like his clothes are kind of old. Are
Mhm.
they tattered and torn?
They
I
are
don't
not.
know.
They used to be, but they're
They
not
used to be on the
now.
Muppet Show. Okay, that's I'm probably thinking of like the Palisades figure or
Yeah.
something where he's
And
got like
they're
holes in him.
tattered.
Yeah, and I don't know, just like that, those two things don't mesh together, and that's what makes him work. Which it shouldn't. It shouldn't work, but it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. And I'd actually thought about this when you said dichotomies. He is full of dichotomies, like you said. And I love that about him. He says something right at the end of the cold open here that he says, like, he'll say something dark, like looking into the abyss of her own life. And then he'll turn it really quickly into something ridiculous and say, I usually bring up sweets. Like it's
Right in this scene, he says, "There goes Bridge Knights with the
yes.
Wellingtons."
Yes, another like weird thing about him that I
Yeah,
love. It's
who
just
are the Wellingtons?
yes, well, you'll never know.
Never know.
No.
There's one moment in this scene that I wanted to ask you about. So P is trying to remember like who are her other friends that she could call.
Hmm.
Like what was that girl's name? They lived together. She was like a sister. P says she gave me her appendix.
Yeah.
And Deadly says, well, if you can't remember her name, then Appendix Girl is not your friend.
Yeah.
So here's my question: what does Miss Piggy need an appendix for? It should have been
Yeah, I
like a
know.
kidney, right?
Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been. There was something around that line, and I don't remember what it was. But there now, but Eric would. His mind is like a steel trap, and he'll remember what that was. But there was literally something around those lines that we discussed when we were shooting it. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, you don't need an appendix.
No.
There's no need for
No.
it.
Well, obviously Piggy wanted an appendix, so I have to
Yeah.
assume maybe she's collecting them,
I don't know.
or
She's
like
weird. She's
she was like
dark.
babysitting someone else's appendix and it died, and so she needed to find a replacement appendix so that
Yeah.
the original owner would know.
Could be.
That's a different. That's the C plot that we never saw.
Yeah, it could have been season 2.
Right. So we find out here that Deadly is producing an adaptation of Clueless, a stage adaptation of Clueless, which is hysterical to think about, and I'm so grateful that it actually pays off at the end of the episode. I guess we'll
Yes.
get around to that. He says that the roles are gender reversed, which was a disaster when they did it with Knocked Up, which is that's a solid joke.
Yeah, pretty funny. Yeah, the writing was really good on on the show overall. Really
It's
great.
one thing I'm
Great
really
lighting,
discovering
lighting.
in like revisiting this show is like the one-liners that are peppered in throughout are hysterical.
Yeah, really great. They're
Yeah.
great. And we would have a writer on set that if something didn't feel like it was landing, they would come in with some alts,
Hmm.
and we'd do those. Or we would think of alts and we would try to say we would pitch them, and sometimes it came out as an ad lib, literally in the moment, and sometimes it was discussed beforehand.
I do remember I visited the set early on in production. I was there for like the second or third episode, and I do remember you guys going through like you did, whatever your 2 or 3 takes, and then you got the keeper, and then like let's just do a fun one, and you guys could kind of ad lib, do whatever you want, see if it works. And I have to assume that a lot of the jokes that I genuinely love came from straight from you guys.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, all of my favorite jokes.
Yes, they definitely came from us.
Including when Janice walks in, as Piggy is trying to decide how to make friends, and she, I think, realizes that Janice could be her friend, which is one of those character combinations we don't see. We never see that character combination, considering there's so
No,
few female Muppets.
that's true. Yeah.
I can only think of like a couple of times they've really interacted with each other, and they've either been like really recent, probably so that we could pass the Bechdel test, or like I think on the old Muppet Babies cartoon, like
Oh,
Piggy and Janice had like a little, they kind of butted heads a little bit, but I don't really remember.
yeah.
You didn't work on that.
I didn't
No.
know. No,
um,
yeah, it's nice. I think it's a great little moment where she comes in doesn't even realize that it's a dressing room. She thinks does she think it's a copy room or something? The nicest
yeah,
copy
yeah, it's
room?
nicest copy room she's ever seen, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of fun. Uh, yeah, I can't speak to that, but what I can speak to that I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about in this particular moment was one of our directors. His name was Randall Einhorn. He directed this episode, and he was our favorite director on the show. We didn't have very many directors, but he was probably our
He,
favorite
he
director.
directed like the majority of the
He
series,
did.
right?
He
Yeah.
did, yeah. And he would say things like, we would come in at the beginning of the day, and we'd have our sides with us, which is just a miniature version of the script. So we bring them in, and he would gather us around. And in that particular set, everything is raised off the ground about 36 inches or so that we can be standing and move around and make much easier. So no floors. And he would come in there and he would walk around. We'd all gather around. Muppet performers and the DP and various departments, and every day he would say things like, I have a theory involving Muppets where you'll stand over here and you'll stand over there, we will say some lines, and then we'll shoot it. And it was just the way he came in, it was just had such an effortless feel. He was fantastic, and he really appreciated us, we appreciated him.
Does he not know what the definition of the word theory is? Because that's not a theory.
Well,
It's not like a hypothesis.
That was the funny part. But we love that. He had a theory involving Muppets.
It's funny because like most of the things that I do on Tough Pigs are like, I have a theory. It's that Statler is secretly Fozzie's father, and
Oh,
let's write 1,000 words about
okay.
that garbage theory and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. In the same way, Randall Einhorn would have a theory involving Muppets, and we would then shoot it.
I love it. I love it. Well, in this scene, Janice comes in and tells Piggy about how she makes friends. She says, well, there's the people in my candle ceremony, my friends who are helping me build a wicker man, the
The
Wicker
Wicker
Man,
Man. Yeah.
which I recommend everyone go out and watch the movie The Wicker Man.
Oh,
It's
I've
terrible.
never seen it.
It's
Oh, I haven't seen it.
it's if you Google like Nicolas
But
Cage,
there's
doing
another
horrible
version
things.
of it, though, right? Or
Yeah, I
is
think
the
it's a
Nick Cage
remake of an
one?
old
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It stars Janice's friend, the Wicker Man,
Yeah. All right.
the titular Wicker Man.
I'll definitely put that on my list.
Well, Janice invites her to her aerial contortion class, or rather, Piggy invites herself to Janice's aerial
Yes.
contortion class.
Yes.
At which Piggy meets Gwen, who is played by an actress named Kat Purgall. I looked her up online.
Mm-hmm.
She has appeared on shows like Heroes and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Shameless. And apparently, she was a PA on Family Guy for years.
Oh,
Like at least on IMDb, she's listed at like 180 episodes of Family Guy as a PA. So
Mhm.
good for her. She's
Yeah.
making it in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Yeah.
tough to be an actor in Hollywood.
Man, it is.
You know.
Don't envy them. But Miss Piggy mistakes Gwen for an employee, and she tries to tip her. I like that she tries to tip her $5,
Yeah.
and she says to split with the other girls.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy is quite a cheapskate.
She's not really aware of how the world works. I don't think.
No, she's not. But she tries to bond because they both were recently dumped. Uncle Deadly is in this scene. He comes in
Hmm.
and he's got Gloria Estefan in a little baby Bjorn on his
Yeah,
chest.
yeah,
So I have to assume that like you're performing Deadly, and I assume Peter is
yes,
doing Gloria Estefan, and
that's
you
right.
have to be in sync with someone doing the right hand, or was Peter doing both? Like, how did that work?
I don't. I feel like there was a third person
Wow.
playing the right hand. I assume that there was an additional person there, usually Julianne Busher, or maybe it could have been Bruce Lanoil,
Hmm.
typically. And yeah, we were just. But the hard part is that like Peter is attached. Our arms are attached to each other as we're
Right.
walking, which is not the most enjoyable.
I think it would be enjoyable to be attached to Peter Linz.
It is enjoyable to be attached to Peter Linz, but just I don't know, for 12 hours in a day,
No, I hear ya. I hear ya.
you know,
And what's weird too is that like Gloria Estefan does not need to be in this scene. Like
no.
she's not adding anything.
No, but she's the or he. I think
It is a he,
Glorious.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
he is part. He is Deadly's responsible for
Hmm.
him, so he's got to bring him along.
Sure.
That's how it's going to work.
Gloria Estefan is now officially an accessory.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it is a
yeah.
nice baby Bjorn. That baby Bjorn is very really nice.
Was it? I didn't actually get a good look at it.
I
Is
don't
it
know.
designer?
I don't know. It. I have no idea. I'm
Uh,
making this up.
well, next up in the scene, Miss Piggy is doing her aerial work, and it's actually some really interesting puppetry. I assume you guys are doing some sort of green screen or something like that, because Piggy's really up there. She's swinging,
Yeah.
she's talking. I mean, she looks alive.
Yeah, I was trying so hard to remember where we shot this, and I feel like we shot this in the studio
Hmm.
at Disney, and I feel like we shot this like they built like that whole thing is a set, right? I feel like
The gym.
that's
I
my
mean,
recollection. Yeah, that whole the
yeah,
aerial silk place is a set piece,
right,
I believe, and and how we did any of those what would typically be in the olden days green screen shots, we would just shoot them in the real location, and Eric and some assists would be in green, but in the real background, so not
right.
on an actual green screen. And then they would then take a plate of the whole picture of the backdrop used in the scene, and then they would erase Eric and the other performers and put in the green, which is not tip. I mean, that's kind of newer to us anyway. Usually, we put everybody's on a green screen. There is a green screen, and we do the puppetry, green or blue screen, and we do the puppetry, and then they put in the background. This is kind of different. The first time we did it was on Muppets Most Wanted. Maybe we did it in the Muppets, but we definitely did it on Muppets Most Wanted, where that whole dance that Constantine does during his number, the I'm number one number on the railing. We're really in that space, really there, and in blue suits, and they just erased us,
Hmm.
which is kind of cool. And that's the kind of technology that we're using here, except for maybe when she rolls down, when she when she
Yeah,
falls.
that
I
I
think
don't
that's
think they
just
spun Eric
I don't
with
think
his
so.
hand in the puppet.
I don't think so.
Uh,
But it's hard to do that kind of thing. I don't recall. I think he was probably pretty high in the air on something. Uh, but it looks great. I think it looks really good.
it does. It looks seamless.
Yeah.
I can't explain why. I feel like normally when we see Muppets doing some sort of green screen thing, it's like, well, I can kind of see where like the arm sleeve ends,
Uh-huh.
or I can kind of tell like, oh, the head's moving but the body's not, so the hand must be behind the head, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, ever since Muppets Most Wanted, or somewhere around there, the technology just got to be really flawless. Like,
Yeah, and it's much harder to tell when something is green. Where's the puppeteer? It's much
yeah,
harder to tell that because they just erase them rather than put us on a key.
yeah, it's fun. Like I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That mystery that makes me think about, like how did you actually achieve the magic?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
there you go.
and I was also thinking about like what would Jim have done if this was being done like for the Muppet Show? I mean,
Oh
not
yeah.
today. Obviously,
Yeah.
today he would have technology, but like if this was the Muppet Show days, it's like no, they literally like pin Miss Piggy to the
Yep.
top of this thing. They'd probably swing it around from below. She'd look like a rag doll.
Yeah.
They do a close up so it looks like she's alive, and
Yep.
then
And
she'd
there
fall.
and there's definitely charm in that as
There
well.
is, yeah.
That kind of feeling of uh, not really guerrilla filmmaking, but just like we're doing what we can with the tools that we've got.
That's right. Yeah.
which I love too.
No, I think you're right that there's definitely a charm to it, but I wonder if that charm would exist if we did that in like today in 2020, like, or would it look cheap because now we're used to all these crazy green screen effects?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know. That's a good question. Well,
it's a good question.
you know what? I'm going to write that down. Just
Yeah.
take
Make
it.
it look cheap. Here's the
There you
thing.
go.
I know that you can't tell me
Yeah,
anything. If you knew anything, you probably don't
yeah,
even know anything. If there was to
right.
be a reboot of the Muppet Show,
Uh-huh.
which I know we're all hoping for, and I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast is like, ask him if there's going to be a reboot of the Muppet Show. I know you
Hmm.
can't say anything, but if there was, I recognize like Muppets are expensive,
Yep.
and especially when there's stuff like that where it's like, well, if we're going to have like a character doing a certain thing, we have to do a whole day shoot to get them up on the thing with all the technology, the green screen, the hide the puppeteers, whatever. And it's like, but a part of me is like, but just like put them on the end of a stick and swing them around. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like the fans will be okay with
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I think there's probably, I haven't thought about this very much, but I think there's probably a happy medium.
Yeah.
If you did something like a Muppet Show where, you can play both sides of it
Yeah.
depending on what the gag is. You know?
Yes. For sure.
Now that we have the technology that we can make it look really amazing, do we do that? Should we do that, or should we lean into the way that it originally was?
Yeah.
That was so.
It's a
I
good
think
question.
maybe there'd be a blend of that. Should that ever happen?
Well, I hope we find out someday.
Yeah, me too.
Just to wrap up that scene, Uncle Deadly fakes a phone call for Miss Piggy, which is another great moment from you, where he's doing a Bob Newhart thing where he's
Hmm.
only the only one on one side of the phone
Yeah,
conversation. He says, "You need Miss Piggy to come back because she's indispensable. Well, this is her personal time. What is your name, Jeremy? What?"
yeah,
"Oh, Jeremy Rosenstein, you've made a powerful enemy. What's that? Fisticuffs."
yep, yeah. Their writing is really on point here.
Well, and you sell it. You could tell like the balance between he's scrambling, but also
Yeah.
like he's really getting into it.
Oh yeah, he
That's
is absolutely
yeah,
getting into it. Now, something this is kind of the opposite. There are times when Deadly does things. First of all, I love getting to play Uncle Deadly. I love it.
oh, I'm sure.
I love that he has this stillness. That there can be this very small, minute, little, very sharp stillness about him when he delivers some lines, and then other lines, like in this particular instance, he can just blow the roof off the place. He can really just chew the scenery, if you will. And but the bigger point here about their relationship is that he is demonstrating to her once again how he is her friend, and he is protecting her feelings in front of all these other people in class who don't even they don't even they're not even paying attention to her, so they don't know it. It's really for Piggy that Deadly does this, and she finally does catch on. She's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
But I love that moment. It was fun. It's fun
I
to watch.
completely agree, and this actually will help us segue into the next scene. Being able to see the growth of Miss Piggy in this episode, to see, she's really difficult, she's lonely, she like something like this where like normally she would fall for what Deadly is doing for her, but she kind of
Mhm.
has a moment where at least the way I read it was, she goes, "Oh, he's getting me out of the situation because I can't make friends." And like there's like a sadness and an acceptance to that.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's that aware of it yet. I don't know that she's quite there. I think she's probably close,
Yeah,
but
she is. Yeah.
or there's that sense of denial that she's
Hmm.
like, yeah, okay, thank you very much for helping me. Now let's get out of here.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
it's something of her interpretation, I think, and I don't know. That's got to be the difficult thing for any of the main characters of
Yes.
this franchise. Of how do you show growth with someone like Kermit, Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, whoever,
Hmm.
um, who've been around for 40 plus years, and yet keep them exactly the same because we want them to be around in
Right.
the iteration that people
Yes.
recognize them as for another 40 plus
Yeah.
years.
Very difficult task.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do find like it's most obvious with Miss Piggy's, especially episodes like this. I often talk about Muppets Most Wanted, how I love her whole journey through that movie,
Oh yeah.
and how she grows, she learns, and yet she lands in the status quo
Yeah.
by the end, which I think is
Hmm.
really smart the way they wrote that in. I thought it worked really well.
Hmm.
So here, so Piggy is now kind of like at her lowest point, and she asks Deadly a question which is like kind of heartbreaking. And she says, "Am I that hard to like?"
Yeah.
And Deadly says,
Yeah.
"Well, you're not easy."
Yeah.
And like that's true friendship, that he's able to tell her the truth
Yeah.
in a way that he knows that she'll understand, but also like can only come from a real friend.
Yeah. The thing about this show, The Muppets, from the ABC series, The Muppets, it probably wasn't the kind of show that Muppet fans were really expecting.
Hmm.
It was too adult. It was mean spirited from time to time. It played all the sitcom tropes, that usually involve an aspect of meanness or putting somebody else down or or pulling one over on somebody. And this show did that all the time, and it did it time and time again, especially because it focused on Piggy and Kermit's breakup,
Yeah.
which makes it so hard to see these beloved characters not getting along in a real world way. Muppets usually, to me, Muppets work best in their own world, in their Muppet bubble, if you will, and we can come take a look into that world and be a part of the craziness, just for a moment. But putting like the real world on these characters sometimes, I think, can be a detriment. So that said, doing a series like this allows us to dig deeper into the characters, and that's of course what any actor wants to do, and we are actors, so this was kind of a dream job, having that and having this kind of material that was so well written, week after week, giving these characters different things to do and really evolving them in one way or another, for good or for bad. And yeah, seeing how these characters evolved, how the relationships evolved, it's just good stuff for the actors to be able to play, and hopefully for the audience to watch. So when she does say, am I hard to like, and for Deadly's response, Eric and I treated this like two real people, treated this like a difficult person, and her probably equally difficult friend. For one reason or another, Deadly is not the most easy person to get along with either, but I think it plays really nicely. He takes that breath. I mean, this is me talking about a character and thing that I did. I was really happy with this, which
Sure,
is
yeah.
a rarity for me, or for most Muppet performers, to be happy with what the scene ultimately looks like, because we always look back and go, oh, I could have tweaked this a little bit more.
Look, I can confirm for you. Like you acted the hell out of this scene. So yes, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back.
Well,
Yeah.
but it is fun, and he does. This is the moment when he tries to explicitly get through to Piggy that I'm your friend, and she still doesn't quite see it. It's only when the next scene, which is probably what you're going to talk about, when Ingrid Michaelson comes on and she sings her song,
Mm-hmm.
and Deadly is there, kind of prompting her and saying, smile, connect, look, read the words, that she does as she's singing the words. She realizes, oh, he's here for me. He's my friend. The
Yes.
the kicker is that then we go to her talking head, and she's like, he didn't even realize he was there for me the whole time. Like she's still kind of clueless.
See, and then we come back to status quo.
Yep.
That's how Muppet growth should
Yeah.
usually end. Is
Yeah.
get back to where we started.
And she's
Yeah.
she's clueless, which then throws us into the
Clueless reference.
yeah.
Yeah.
She goes
Segue.
in, yeah,
Segue.
they're in there.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll jump right into that. So Uncle Deadly has been directing this stage version of Clueless.
Oh God, I wish I could see the whole thing.
I know, right? You guys should have just done it.
We should
just even as a table read.
I know, it would have been fun.
But he says, so what's interesting is he says that the leading lady quit, so he has to go on as the lead. But he said earlier that they gender reversed it. So
Yes.
think about that one.
Well, I think he refers to his leading lady. It would have been a male.
Oh, like the character is the leading lady. Not
Yes, I
performer.
think.
I see.
I think the performers are all intended to be.
Oh,
That's what I think it is.
That I will accept that as
Does that make
as an
sense?
appropriate answer
Yeah,
for sure.
that
Yeah.
that was brought up, and I do remember some talk about that because in the end, he's what should be a. It's not that the characters in the show are gender reversed; it's that the
Right.
performers are,
Right.
which is why it was
Um,
such a disaster with Knocked Up. I guess.
right. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not.
But yeah, so Miss Piggy surprises him not only by attending, which is out of character for her,
Yes.
but she brings along the whole Muppet crew, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. And then you get a great shot of all the Muppets sitting in the audience, which I
Yeah.
love.
Watching them.
But even better is that you get Deadly reciting the first line of Clueless,
Yeah.
which is just gold. It's one of the best moments of the series to see him in the wig, in like that iconic plaid
Yep.
blazer
Yellow.
that she's wearing,
The wig.
saying, "So okay." You're probably going like, "Is this an Noxzema commercial or what?" It was wonderful, a wonderful moment.
Yeah, and there was also like a fine line of how good is he? Is he how
Right.
believable does he make this? He kind of was halfway there. Maybe he was not terrible,
Sure.
but he's
He
given
gets
it
the
his
job done.
He does
He
get
knows.
the job
I
done.
feel like he knows how to act. Like it's like if you put like Laurence Olivier into a role like that, like he's gonna try to play it like Othello.
Yes, it'll be
But,
his
like, he
version
kinda-
of that.
Yeah.
Any
right.
great actor just puts who they are
Right.
into that role, right?
Even if it's into the skin of Alicia Silverstone.
Yes.
Right. We did jump over the Ingrid Michaelson thing, and I just wanted to ask you real quick
Yeah.
because I love her. I think I love the song "The Way I Am." The album
Mm-hmm.
that it comes off of, "Be Okay," is one of my favorite albums. I adore it. So when I heard that she was gonna be on the show and that she gets this moment, I got really excited. And then she gets to sing like one verse, and that's it.
Yeah.
And to me, this kind of goes against the Muppets' history of celebrity guest stars.
Yep.
And I mean, how do you feel about that?
That happened not only with Ingrid, but it did happen a few
there's a
other
few.
times earlier in the season. I feel like with a couple of other guests, whether they were musical acts or whether they were like I think Imagine Dragons is just in the outro. I think they're in the close.
I think you're right. I don't recall. I feel like one of them gets a line with Animal, maybe, or maybe I'm getting confused with the Dave Grohl thing. But yeah, either way, very few of the celebrity guests who are appearing on Up Late with Miss Piggy get like an actual like Muppet moment, really.
Yeah, that's true. And I think by this point we were kind of the inner workings of the show was trying to make this turn to be more a little bit more Muppet show-esque.
Right. Yeah, that's totally obvious. after
Which
the
they
break.
do reference in this particular. They reference that in the cold open, I think, where she's like, "What can I do?
Yeah, right.
With
Like,
all
now
everybody else being involved, now I have nothing to. Now I'm here. I'm in
Right.
it less, or something like
There's
that.
less me. Yeah, right.
Yeah, less. So, yeah, it was. It's a shame. It's some of that is probably just time. I mean, they're probably, if I remember right, I'm sure there's whole scenes that are gone just because of time.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And
That's any show.
Yeah,
When you got to
and
cram it into 22 minutes.
That's right. And had she not had such an integral part in that moment to have, that related to these two characters,
Yeah.
she might have been cut altogether.
Yeah.
Which would have been a shame because it is a lovely song and she was so sweet and so excited to be there, as
sure she
anybody
was.
is that comes
Yeah.
in to hang with the Muppets.
Absolutely. So I know we're low on time, so I'm going to kind of rush through our B plot.
All right.
Real quick.
It's not as important anyway.
It's really not as important. Well, so just as a general overview,
Yeah.
Pache comes in and he wants to sell Pinkberry ads, product placement in the show, which I assume is actual product placement. For
I don't
Pinkberry.
know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
And he's gonna, because Kermit's not down for it, he goes to the writers and he ends up bribing them by buying them fancy suits and stuff. So first of all, were you involved at all with this shoot? Gonzo
I was
and
not.
Pepe?
No, I was not because, and I don't remember why. I'm trying to think.
I mean, you were busy,
I was busy. The only thing I do remember is I remember being there. Oh, okay. So there's a scene where they enter in their suits and it's in slow motion. That little moment, I remember being around for that scene and shooting that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I'm not sure what I did.
I would assume like when you're in slow motion, you need like all hands on deck for literally the hands to make sure that if we're walking in slow motion.
Maybe because we weren't really walking in slow motion, just the Chip walks by or something and he's walking in normal speed. isn't
Yeah,
he?
so you are the performer walking in slow motion.
The performers are pretending to walk.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
the
Yeah.
characters are pretending. Yeah.
Right.
But I was there for that, and I was probably helping somebody,
Yeah.
and then the next scene. Oh, maybe it was because what could have happened is the next scene is when Kermit is kind of they're having a discussion. They're inside the office or they're inside the bullpen, and it's Kermit, and then it's when
Oh, is it when they're trying to take Gonzo's pants off over his shoes?
before it's
Okay.
before that. But
Okay.
the reason why I was probably there is because I was probably doubling for Rizzo
Oh,
when
sure. Yeah.
so and Kermit when Steve was bouncing back and forth between
That makes sense. Yeah.
the two. So that's the only two scenes that I would have probably been in. Anything with
Gotcha.
Kermit and Rizzo, and I probably was around for those. But I don't remember
Yeah. No, that's
a
fine.
lot
There's a
about
lot
those.
of you did a lot of Muppet
There,
stuff.
there
It all
is,
runs together.
but there is something that back in that scene that you didn't talk about. But there's a moment when Kermit exits the elevator, right? And it's something. There's Sweetums in it, and he's got like a scarf on that John Mayer left in the dressing room.
Yeah, there's a moment where the characters are some of the characters are pitching sketch ideas.
Yes,
Carl has an idea, Big Mean Carl's idea
yep.
where he's
He's got a big book
hypnotist.
of them, right?
Yep, and he says, "You're getting very sleepy."
Yeah,
Yolanda wants a celebrity guest to judge crew fashion, the fashion of the crew members.
Yep.
She says Sweetums looks like he's part of a car wash, and Sweetums says, "Hey, John Mayer left this scarf in the green room."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right at the top of that scene, there's a little Easter egg in there, and I don't know if you know this or not. You probably do, but in the very top of the scene, the elevator opens. Kermit comes out, and behind Kermit, over his shoulder, is a puppet carrying an oar.
No, I don't know this inside
Okay,
joke. What is
so
this?
that puppet is the Randall Einhorn Muppet, who is our director. Now he's carrying an oar because Randall used to give guided river raft tours,
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken, for quite a long time.
wow.
And so every once in a while we would put the Randall Einhorn Muppet through, and he would walk through with his oar.
That's hysterical. I knew that there was a Randall Einhorn Muppet. But
That was
I did
him.
not know about the
And
oar
that's
or his
that's him.
backstory, his
There you go.
his origin of being a whitewater raft
Yeah,
tour,
a guide.
whatever it
Yeah,
was. Yeah. Well, I want to go through a couple of moments. Please feel free to like jump in as we're like kind of running
right.
through this B plot. But Gonzo, Rizzo, and Pepe, as they're at the suit shop. First of all, Pepe has the tiniest little fedora, which is adorable.
Yes.
It's literally like the size of a quarter.
Yeah, it's fedorable. Sorry.
Shut up.
Sorry about that.
But RuPaul is there, and
Yes.
RuPaul just who doesn't know who RuPaul is? But RuPaul
Right.
was famous in the '90s for a song called "Supermodel, You Better Work."
Yep.
Currently for RuPaul's Drag Race, RuPaul's done everything, but RuPaul's also worked with the Muppets several times.
Yeah, I totally forgot that RuPaul was in this episode.
Yeah.
Until there was
Until
RuPaul.
we rewatched it.
Yeah.
So 2 years earlier, RuPaul appeared in Lady Gaga and the Muppets Holiday Spectacular.
Oh, we
Everyone's
forgot
favorite.
about that too.
Everyone's favorite. Well,
I
you could
forgot
forget
most of that.
Yeah,
That
that's
whole
probably for the best
experience.
We should do a whole podcast about that because I have so many questions. But RuPaul does not share any scenes with the Muppets in that. He is doing a song called "Fashion" with Lady Gaga. It's forgettable. Don't worry about it. But cut to 5 years later, and RuPaul appeared in the most recent Muppet series, Muppets Now, sharing
Yes.
an improvised conversation with Kermit and a bunch of interrupting Muppets.
Yep.
So that's you. That's you again. You
Yeah,
got
yeah.
to work directly with RuPaul.
And RuPaul was awesome.
I bet.
So
RuPaul's
great. So great.
Let's see. I'll cut out my silence here as I'm looking through my notes.
Leave it.
not.
Just
We'll
leave
leave it
it. It'll be fine.
It's human interest.
Yeah.
So the writers return to the set in their new suits, and like you said, they're doing the slow motion thing. They are walking to the song "Little Green Bag" by George Baker, which is the song from that famous intro of Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
Which is interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
It's not really a Reservoir Dogs type of moment, except for the fact that they're dressed fancy.
Yeah.
I
I
guess.
guess it's just the slow-mo.
Yeah.
The slow-mo and the song. I think that's really it. Well, in Reservoir Dogs, they are walking in those matching suits.
Yeah, they have the black
white,
suits.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But-
I don't know. Just
but
an
yeah.
interesting choice. Not
Yeah.
bad or good.
Yeah.
So there's another great puppetry scene where, like I said, Gonzo is trying to get his pants off over
Yes.
over the shoes, and so Rizzo and Pepe are kind of tugging on his legs, which is terrific. But But
Yeah.
there's also a great moment where Kermit runs in and says, "Hey guys, don't ditch the suits yet. And also, please, could you wear your pants in the office?"
Yeah.
And Rizzo says, "Okay, Mr. Naked."
Yes, I love that. That was very funny.
So RuPaul returns to be a guest on Up Late with Miss Piggy.
Hmm.
There's they've chosen two designers to make fashion bags out of nothing but trash. It's the Swedish chef wearing a fedora and sunglasses, which is an easy costume change for him,
Yep.
and Bobo, who is wearing nothing, so it's an
Yeah,
easier
of
costume
course. Yeah.
change. Yeah.
Although maybe
Uh,
he has pants on.
I doubt it.
I do too.
I don't think Bill was wearing pants when he was.
No
I doubt
comments.
that as well. So I assume that this is you as Sweetums, who comes in wearing like a trash bag that's kind of like cinched off with
Yes. And what I remember about that is that it was very hot.
I was gonna ask. It seemed like it'd be very hot.
Being in Sweetums anyway is super hot, but then
Yeah.
put some garbage bags on him and it's even hotter. And what I do remember about it is that there's these little, he's doing poses and and I'm doing the mouth of Sweetums is moving a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I remember having to go in later. I didn't make any noise in the moment. I don't think I did. But then you have to go in and do this stuff called ADR, where you go in and you put some audio in there, and it just says on the little sheet they give you, it says Sweetums efforts. So they're just looking for something to like go. So I was just doing that in a room like this that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Just watching the video of that little whatever it was.
Yeah. I kind of wish that Sweetums was literally going efforts.
It'll say that for the weirdest things. Efforts. Oh, I want some efforts.
All right.
Yeah, that's a little.
So the episode ends, our
Yep.
tag, which is another great moment from this series, as Pepe is doing a series of impressions he calls people who wear suits, including your businessman father who spends all of his time at the office, buy, sell, I have a second family,
Yep.
and many others. I won't go through them all, but the best one, of course, is him. He puts his hands up behind his ears, makes it look like he has big ears. He says, I am Barack Obama, and
Yes.
I can have whatever I want for dinner.
Yes, that's his takeaway for Barack Obama.
That might be the greatest moment in this whole series.
It's
I
pretty funny.
adore it, especially the Muppets don't get political very often.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time watching this live and thinking like, oh, they're gonna make a political joke, and then it's like, oh, it's just that Obama can have whatever he wants for dinner.
I mean, whatever he wants. Yeah, I don't remember if those things were written or if they wrote them on the day, because I would not put it past Bill to have
Just been messing
come up
around
with
in
all
front
of
a
those
mirror.
things. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I believe it.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Muppets the Sitcom.
Oh.
Let me ask you, now that you've watched it again, first of all, is this the first time you've watched it since 2015 or 2016? Really, this would have aired.
Yes.
And
I
how
believe so.
did you like it compared to that viewing, to your last viewing?
I think we did some strong work on that show. It's not my favorite Muppet series that we've done, just because of the subject matter is a little, not dark, but mean a lot of times. But some great things came out of it. The, fleshing out who Uncle Deadly was to me came out of that show. Getting to evolve these characters in one way or another came from that show. And so when I see something that I've been in and I see it back, I always have a little bit of nostalgia for that time of what shooting out in Burbank, and the apartment I had and the dinners that we would go to after a long day of work, and just spending those long days on set with these people that I love. So it to me it's more than just watching those 22 minutes or so. It's that whole package that comes along with it, and I'm so actually very grateful that you asked me to come on this podcast and talk about it, because I haven't looked at a lot of that stuff in a long time, and I'm glad I did. I think it still holds up.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the second half of the series, really, like, it was on the upswing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful that we got to get you here on this podcast, if only to just narrow in. It's always great to hear you guys talk about just like a little sliver of the
Yeah.
work you do. Like it's easy to get you to talk about like how do you work as a Muppet performer? But
Right.
That's a huge question.
Yes.
But here it's like no, these 22 minutes of content that you made.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's just talk about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Of course. So, where can people find you on the internet if they want to see and hear more from you?
Well, they can hear me on a podcast called Below the Frame with Matt Vogel.
The competition.
I would say that we are companions.
We are companions. No, we are very good friends. The Tough Pigs podcast and Below the Frame podcast.
It's a place where you can kind of go and get what I like about it is that it is an in-depth talk for, however long we talk, between a couple of friends, and it's kind of like you're a fly on the wall listening to these two Muppet performers, or sometimes a director, or writer, whatever it is, and which I find really, really fun. And I'm gearing up to kind of record some more interviews as we get into the new year.
Great, that's exciting.
So,
I mean, it really I joke, but it's a fantastic podcast.
Thank you very much.
It's very informative. It's really fun, and for anyone who's like at all interested in behind the scenes, below the scenes of the Muppet world, the Sesame world, it's kind of required reading. You know what I mean?
And you learn about the people that perform those characters that everybody loves. And so you can find that wherever you find your podcast. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Welcome Matt V, I think is what.
Welcome Matt V.
Yeah.
I looked it up just to make sure.
Oh my God, because I didn't. That's pretty much where I am. I'm not posting a lot right now. I'm just kind of.
It's okay. There's a lot of clutter on the internet right now.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few things going on in the world.
I don't know.
But that's why we need people like you to help us kind of, give us a much needed distraction.
Well,
once
and
in a
you
while.
as well.
Thank you very much. Well, also, if people want to hear more about Matt, we have a great interview with him here on this podcast channel. Just go back a few episodes to 15 Seconds to Curtain with Matt Vogel. It's pretty fun. We talk about all sorts of things, including Uncle Deadly, if you want to hear more about Uncle Deadly.
I probably repeated a lot of it here.
Actually, I don't think you did.
Oh, good.
So there's even more.
Fantastic.
So thank you, everyone, for listening. Please subscribe and tell all your friends about this podcast. Please check out toughpigs.com and all of our social media outlets for more Muppet news and commentaries and ridiculous things that we like to post. Thanks to our very special fake sponsor, Pinkberry. The delicious gluten-free frozen yogurts made with live and active cultures from Pinkberry. Thank you to them. Maybe they'll actually listen to this and give us some money.
Oh, maybe they will. Oh, I should take that back to then. Just when I hear live and active culture.
Yum.
Yeah.
So good, that Pinkberry that I love so much. All right. Thank you again, Matt. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time.